I'm really excited. I haven't said that too many times. Having watched Spurs this season, it's been a really, really poor Premier League campaign. However, it can end up with silverware, so they have to flip it on from a negative to a real positive. And I think that's what Ange's done in the Europa League. You see the games recently, certainly going to Frankfurt. The way they defended, tough place to go. And then Bodeglimt getting the job done at home and managing to do a professional job away from home. That's all it was. It wasn't a great performance. AstroTurf pitch, it was a real challenge for them going there, because I've experienced that myself, but it was job done. And now the big one against Manchester United, which is huge. It's huge for both clubs in my opinion, but for Spurs because obviously it's been so long, and the noise outside the football club about not winning a trophy. I certainly know inside the club they would be sick of hearing this. So if they can get that off the back and then look forward, they can have a real positive season in the end if they win it. Because, at the start of the season, it was all about Champions League football. That was the aim from the players and from Ange. Having done so well last year, to miss out on by 2 points, finishing 5th, and then this year, 12 months on, it goes down to 5th in the league position. But that's gone. Poor season league campaign, but as I've said, Europa League and this final, I'm excited, and I think they've got a great opportunity. I really do. The history of Manchester United will scare people, and you talk about it. This is certainly not the Manchester United of myself growing up and the players that they had, and I look at the squads, and I think Spurs have got a far superior squad than what Manchester United have at this moment in time. Oh, 100%. Definitely. I mean, you look at them and think you can go there. The amount of games they've lost at home this season is remarkable. When I played and you went to Old Trafford, you think could you get a point? And if you got a win, it was some achievement. Whereas now, numerous teams, and you see last time out against West Ham, who've been struggling, they go there and win. So yeah, they don't have the fear factor. I think the fear factor that they have is it's still Manchester United. That is it, but it's not the Manchester United of old. Well, I think defensively we have to touch on Romero and Mickey van der Ven. I mean, I know there's been a lot of talk. He's rotating. He's saving certainly these two players for European football, which he has. He's changing the league. It's been Danzo and Ben Davies. So I think that's a position that they have to be strong, like we have seen in the last couple of games in Europe. I think middle of the park, I think Bruno is a player whom I'm a huge fan of, and there's times when he steps up in big games, which this is. So I think he's a player that they have to watch in the middle of the park. Big loss for Spurs in Kulusevski, and now Maddison being out as well. So will Son come back in on that left-hand side, or will he go with Taylor? It'll definitely be Brennan Johnson on the right and Solanke. So I look at Solanke, the work. Can he occupy the Manchester United defenders? Lenny Yoro going off against West Ham as well. So they've had injury problems. I think there's key battles all over the pitch in wide areas. I'm guessing Ahmed will come in for Manchester United. He's come back in recent weeks and got some minutes under his belt. So him and the doggy will be a big battle to watch. Pedro Porro going the other side with Garnacho. We know Pedro Porro likes to get high, inverted, but will that leave the space for Garnacho? So there's big challenges all around the pitch, and plenty of tussles that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I will be transfixed, and I'm excited. I really am, and I'm confident that Tottenham can win this final. As I say, they've been in finals in recent years, but haven't been able to get over the line. Well, of course it could be. We still talk about 2008 when I was there. We talk about Juan de Ramos, who had got sacked probably 6 or 7 months after we won in February. He goes at the start after 8 games of the next season. So, but we still talk about it. Ange will go down in history if he can win it, because winning trophies, that is history. And I've said so. He realises, and the players realise, the campaign in the Premier League has been well below par. Embarrassing, really, at times for how many games have lost, and in 17th position. And he can't look to anything else, because if he if he beat Crystal Palace at the weekend, then beat Aston Villa on Friday, but lose a final, it's going to be still a disastrous season. So he's put all his eggs in one basket, and I've got absolutely no problem with that because they've been criticised, they've been questioned. Yes, they've had injuries, but it ultimately hasn't been good enough. So it's all on this game, and it can flip, and it can be a positive season because Spurs can have Champions League football next season if they win. Do you know what? It's going to be really interesting, this, because in the European football, he's had a pragmatic sort of formation, his philosophy, the way he's played. All the Premier League stuff has sort of gone out the window. You look at them going to Frankfurt. Frankfurt scored, I think they've scored now in every home game this season, or certainly did going into that game. And then Spurs keep a clean sheet. He was resolutely strong. He was strong. Different kind of Spurs performance, really, that we see in the Premier League. So it's going to be interesting. And I speak to some Tottenham fans, and they're saying, do they want it to be like the Premier League, a basketball game, end to end, or does he go more pragmatic? I think he'll stick to his European football styles. I know it's an all English final, but I think he'll go down that way because he's had the success in recent games in Europe, and obviously in the Premier League, as I say, it's just been one of those seasons with injuries, results really, really poor. But he will accept that. Do you know what I mean? You have to accept it when you're in this industry and you don't win football matches and you don't put performances. You come under scrutiny. But I think he sort of put that to the back of his thought, and all eyes are on next Wednesday. I think that's a big question. I think defensively, you know, it's one of those where everyone's fit, they're as good as anyone. I believe that when you can put Jed Spence into that bracket. So they're really strong. Kevin Danzo coming in, the experience of Ben Davies. You know, middle of the park, you go and sign another midfielder. You've got Benton Kerr, Papsar, who's sort of the energy. Will he come in and play now with the injury to Kulusevski and Maddison? Bergvall being out. You know, in wide areas, will Matthias Tell go back, or will they sign him? So I think another player in a wide area, just because if you have got Champions League football next year, you see this year how challenging it's been. Last year was pretty plain sailing. The team picked itself for the majority of the time when they only had Premier League football, and it's been a hindrance, to be honest, the European challenge. But then you flip it on side and go, they're in a final. But the amount of injuries that are picked up, and again they keep picking them up with Maddison, Kulusevski. So I think you're talking about the squad depth when these challenges come. And I think you're then looking different brackets. If it's only Premier League, you're probably not looking at too many changes. I really believe that, because you've got a squad. But when you're playing in the Champions League, that's when you see the challenges of Villa this year, and you saw it was Newcastle a few years ago. It's certainly demanding, and your high expectation is certainly through the roof when it's Champions League football and Premier League. Massive, absolutely huge. And I go back to when we beat Chelsea in 2008, and people must be sick of hearing that. Then we get beat in 2009 in the League Cup when I was playing. Then you fast forward and you go Champions League football, and you talk about Carabao Cup finals. You know, we've had semi-finals, but never managed to get over the line. And you don't remember losers. That's it. People don't talk when... or they talk about the disappointment of losing that Champions League final to Liverpool in 2019. It's devastating. So sooner they get that trophy under the belt, and then we can move on from keep talking about, because I'm sick of talking about it. And I was there at the club at that time. It seems a long time ago, but however, I do realise how hard it is to win a trophy. I mean, there's some big teams that haven't won trophies in recent years. So it's all about timing, a little bit of fortune. You need luck in the final. It's a one-off game, and I certainly hope Tottenham get that. Oh, 100%. I'm a big fan of Dom Solanke. I think his work ethic is unbelievable. You know, would you like to have probably brought more goals? Yes, he would, because he's a striker, and we all talk about that. But when you watch him, what he gives to the team and the way they play now, teams only play with one striker and two wide attackers, as you could say, where we used to go 4-4-2 years ago and your wingers ran. So now they invert and go back. So you're always playing with one striker. That's just how it is. The majority of clubs do that. But yeah, I'm a fan of Dom Solanke. I was glad when he came to the football club. You know, there was a few options that could have gone, but Ange wanted Dominic Solanke. The club wanted him, and I think he's certainly repaid for his. He suits the way to play. I just like for him. He gets chances, he gets goals. I just like a few more because his work rate. He deserves more than what he gets. But big fan of him. 3-1 Spurs.